What's going on, guys? TechMan05 here, aka Tommy Tech. This video is going to be doing a documentation on a little tune-up I have going on my 5-liter in Goliath. Doing some maintenance. I've been dealing with a mysterious misfire, a lean condition, leaks from the coolant that I can never find because it was never leaking in the front. I've replaced, the water pump timing change you've seen in older videos. And I'm also going to adjust my valves. So I figured this would be a good time just to do a really big tune-up. As you can see, I already have the upper plenum taken off. And it's a mess under here, obviously. Some of the coolant was leaking. But even besides that, as you can see, it's pretty dirty. So she needs to be cleaned up. Besides that, I'm also going to be cleaning my fuel injectors. I have a repair kit with the screens and new O-rings that I'm going to be putting on there. This heater hose line right here is getting replaced. I'm replacing my power steering pump. It's starting to leak a little bit as well. What else? I got new vacuum hoses. I'm going to install oil separator over here and just a bunch of little miscellaneous stuff. As you can see, here's the parts. I got a new intake spacer. Just want to go ahead and replace it. The intake gasket for the lower manifold. I'm going to be replacing that. The valve cover gaskets. Oh yeah, and I forgot. I'm also going to be replacing the lifters as well. I won't be getting those until tomorrow, so I'll be documenting this all in one video in different segments, as you'll see. I got some vacuum hosing, PCV valve grommet. Yeah, I'm replacing that as well. I'll show you guys how I'm going to set this up. I haven't decided exactly how I'm going to mount it yet, but I have a few ideas once I start putting everything back together. So I'm going to go ahead and drain the coolant and pull the manifold off, and then I'll probably come back to you guys later, which will be tomorrow, and show you the progress from there. All right, guys. Finally got this upper intake and lower intake off, valve covers off. It was definitely a mess, and I do think I had a leak coming from the back. As you can see, there's a lot of sludge. Can't really tell if it's oil or coolant. Doesn't matter, it's getting fixed. New push rod, or not push rods, lifters came in. I got a new spider bracket and retainers. New lifters. Been cleaning my fuel injectors. I replaced the pintle caps, the screens, and O-rings. Let's see, where's an old one? I got an old one around here somewhere. Okay, here we go. If it'll focus. Anyways. That's what the old screen looked like. Now, granted, that's 20 years of use, so not surprising. But here are the kits. I got this off eBay, so if you do a search online, you might be able to find on eBay, Amazon, or even a manufacturer that does fuel injectors might be able to get you a kit. Definitely worth it if you this far in. The intake's taking a bath. I'm probably going to shoot some fresh paint on this again. Clean this up. As you can see, there's a minor port job. I might actually clean that up before I put it back on as well. But yeah, once I clean this off, once this is cleaned, I'm going to scuff it down and spray some paint over it. Also got this stud kit. I need to make sure this works before I go putting this on. Studs instead of bolts, which I like better. It will help a lot with aligning the gasket and the intake. Alright guys, I'm finally getting down to the nitty gritty, replacing these lifters. it seems like it was gonna be impossible to get them out. But I will tell you one thing that will save your ass, and I may be able to get all these lifters out. Is first of all, you want to back off all these rocker stud poly locks. You want to back them all the way out so you can pull the push rods out and keep track of them. I'm gonna just go all the way down each bank and do it that way. But once I did that, I also have this starter engine start tool for the starter, and you just connect it on. And what you want to do to get this factory lifter bracket hold down thing, or whatever you want to call it, get each lifter as low into the bore as you can. So pretty much you want the base cam lobe to be on these cylinders, so the lifter is at its lowest point. That way you can help lift this up, and obviously the push rods won't be there, and pull this off. And that should give you enough clearance, because I was able to do it right here on cylinder 1 and 2, because that's the only way you can get them out. And then then what you want to do is just kind of pull the lifters out. You can use a magnet, or you can spin the engine over a little bit so the cam spins over, and you can just pull them out. And getting them in is going to be a little tricky, but same thing. If you make sure it's on the base circle of the cam, you may be able to finagle your way into it. I have not tried it on this cylinder yet. I will do this off camera and let you guys know how it goes. So I'm going to be replacing as many of these lifters with the Ford Performance ones as I can, and putting this new dog bone lifter. What do they call it? It's a lifter, whatever. Keeps the lifters from spinning. So I'm gonna do this off camera, and then I'm gonna come back once I'm done with this bank and update from there. All right, guys. I finally got all the old lifters out, and it was a pain in the ass. Particularly these ones on the corners right here, because it was very hard to get them. And so I went ahead and put the new lifters in off screen. Finally got these lifters put in place. Got the dog bones in, the spider bracket in, bolted down. I even did all the rocker adjustment already off camera, except for this one. So I'm gonna show you guys, for those that don't know how to do it, how to get zero lash and then adjust the rockers from there. Spin the engine over. And what you want to do, this is intake, exhaust. And what you want to do is you want to look for one of these to start to go down first. And as soon as it starts to push down and open the valve, then the other one is going to be on base circle, and then you can adjust that, and then vice versa. So alright. So you can see exhaust is starting to open up, which means the intake is closed. I'm gonna go ahead and back this out. One thing that I was doing, since I'm in such a cramped area, is one thing that's kind of important, is you want to make sure that when you're tightening these down, although you won't be able to adjust it a whole lot, you want to make sure that, use like a mirror, that the roller tip is as centered over the valve stem as possible. You don't want it to be awkward, like you don't want 3/4 of it to be on halfway to the edge. So you want to try to center it as much as you can before you start this process. And I'm not going to be able to really watch it while playing with the push rod, but I do know that if I kind of hold this to the right, towards the back of the engine, it's going to keep it mostly centered. So knowing that, I can go ahead and kind of keep playing, spinning and moving the push rod up and down until I start to feel resistance. Mainly resistance is to the point where I won't be able to move the push rod up and down anymore. That's what I'm going for, which is right. I'm gonna back it up a little bit. I was way off. Must have been holding that push rod up. Okay. Back it off. trying to get it as close as possible. Still got a little bit of play. Alright, that's about good. Double check. It's about as good as I'm going to be able to get it. Okay, so with that in mind, I have this tool. It's a 5/8 on the poly lock. If you don't got it, you don't have to have this tool, but I do find this tool to help out. So take it right here. Actually, I'm gonna take it right here because the alternator's in the way. So we know we're facing 9 o'clock. Quarter turn, half turn, about 5/8 right there. So I'm gonna work with that, and I'm gonna go ahead and tighten down the set screw. Okay, once you get that done, usually what I'll do is I'll give the poly lock a little bit more of a snug. And there you go, you got that adjusted. No play. Said I'm doing about 5/8 because I've seen people say 5/2 is not enough, but some people say that 3/4 to a full is too much and you might push a valve open. So I'm starting with 5/8. And then if that ends up being too chattery, then I'll bump it up to 3/4. So, all right. So you go ahead, turn the engine over. You can see the exhaust starting to come back come back up. Now you see the intake is starting to open right there. Okay. I'm back the set screw up just a little bit.
CNN breaking news. Man eaten by shark.
Okay. All right. Same thing on this one. I am going to start it at the 9 o'clock, take it to the 3, and then to about the 4:30. So start about right there. Quarter, half, and about 45 degrees from that is about 5/8. Tighten the set screw. Alright, snugged up, and that's all there is to it with these adjustable rockers. All of them are adjusted. Now what I'm going to do is I think the starter tool fell off the starter, so I'm going to have to connect that back up, and I'm going to spin it with the starter and go around a few more times just to make sure everything is tight and staying tight and where it should be. Man, no wonder why my shit was chattery. Look at this. This is every lifter I've taken out on the passenger side. Look at that. In the vise, with the big ass flathead screwdriver, I can't even push this thing down. It's